1/2.
Close.
Negative 1.
So it's a-
Negative 1/2.
Yeah. So it's gonna be half the size, but pointed in the opposite direction. Or pointed down. And let's see if we can at least do a crude sketch of that. So we changed the mirror around, so we'll do. So light coming in is then going to bounce towards the focal length, which is here. And this is what bad drawing really kicks in. See if I can draw that part a little bit better. Light that hits the center is still gonna bounce the exact same way. So light comes in, and then, well, better than what I had drawn. And so just from the crude sketch, we put it right here. In fact, it should actually be somewhere around there, but that's the nature of doing stuff by hand on the board.
So when we do magnification, do we write out magnification, or do we have?
You can just say M equals -1.
Okay.
Did I miss your question?
No, because, no, you got my question right on. When can we leave it when a fraction, and when do we need to make sure that it's a decimal?
Oh, for when the mood strikes you. They're both equally valid.
Okay, so in other words, if somebody didn't wanna change it to decimal for either one of the, like -4/30, and just wanted to change it to 2/15.
That's fine, you don't even have to reduce the fraction if you don't want to. We do have to flip it over because this is 1/q and I'm looking for
Yeah.
q. So if you had written q is equal to -34ths, that is a correct answer. Oh, centimeters. That is a correct answer. It's just as valid as this is. The reason I usually put it in decimal is that it's easier for me to picture where this shows up on the drawing in this form than it does in that form.
What about for magnification? Does it need to be in decimal form, or does it need to be left fraction form, or does it matter?
Does not matter. I tend to do magnification in terms of fractions, and I do P and Q in terms of decimal. Childhood scars, I assume. What is it?
So F is the focal point, which is half of the radius of curvature.
Right,
Alright, P is how far the object is from the mirror,
correct.
and then Q is, will you ever be given Q value?
Yeah, I mean, you could,
What is the Q?
that's where the image is.
Okay,
So P is object, Q is image. And of course, you should mind the difference between them.
I just wanted to get that down for the new notes you're at now, since the chapters got split.
Yeah. When I originally did this, I did D sub O and D sub I for object and image, which makes a lot of sense. The book does P and Q. Personally, I would rather not write the subscripts if I can get away with it. Again, chocolate scars.
I don't know, I feel like the F, the luminous flux, I think that needs like a subscript L or something. I know, cause it's like F over A, come on, that's like.
Cursive, but
There-
F looks like a.
Shut down.
Sometimes what you'll see is, since you're talking about light here, for instance, for illuminance, E is also used for energy, it's the magnitude of the electric field, it's used, et cetera, et cetera.
All the time.
So sometimes what you might see is something like that, or some subscript that is typically associated with light, and these are just symbols that are sometimes associated with light. So that's the kind of subscript that you might see. You know, again, we have 100 capital and lowercase Greek and Roman letters. We've run out.
We can just start making symbols.
We could,
Like you make
and
them a
then,
slow symbol.
and then what do you call them?
Well, it's not like we don't have.
Try,
other
like hit a
languages.
frying pan with different things and whatever sound it makes is what we call it. Hit different objects.
And this is the boing.
With a ding.
See, you could use those for sound.
Yeah, yeah.
The intensity of sound is gonna be the ding.
All right, so when I'm teaching 133 in the fall, for the entire semester, and I got, you know, loads of extra time, I'll just start making words up. And make sure whatever job you're on, you call it the boing, because everyone will know what you're talking about. All right, so that's the end of 34. I want to get through the test before we start talking about quizzes and things like that. So I was gonna move on to 35.
So, so the test is gonna be from where we started and to 35?
The test on Tuesday is through 22.
Oh, okay.
Yep, it's all mechanical waves. I say the light waves show up on the last test. All right, so what we're slowly heading towards is, well, actually, all of this is light reacting with some other object with a mirror. It hits, bounces off with something it can actually go through or penetrate. We're now dealing with refraction. So let me at least write that word down. So chapter 35, refraction. And now let me find those papers that I need to return.
I'm worried about looking at those tests.
Oh, me too, I'm so
Doesn't matter.
What matters?
Matters to me.
I know.
I found the papers I need to return tonight. Let's see.